Hi, my name is Bente, I'm the Norse Witch, and I need to rant about something very, very badly. So you will have to hear me rant. Or technically you don't have to, because you could click off, but please don't, please stay, because I think it's important. Yeah, I need to rant about the topic that makes me insanely angry. And this is specifically right now about Norse paganism, but it can be applied to a lot of different things in witchcraft too, or in a lot of magical practices. Not in necessarily every single one, but in a lot of them. So what do I even want to rant about? I want to rant about people making up rules about things and just like expecting other people to follow those rules, and making other people, especially beginners, feel invalid in their practice when they don't follow those rules. So let's talk about that. If you've seen another one of my commentary/rant videos, you probably know that a lot of them come from or are inspired by comments that I get on YouTube, because there are so many bullshit commenters out there. And again, this time, this video and this topic, this rant, this commentary is inspired by a comment on a YouTube video of mine. I think it wasn't even a normal video. I think it was one of the 5 shorts. We're on YouTube. One of the 5 shorts that I uploaded. And fun fact, I usually get most shitty comments and stupid comments, especially on shorts. So I don't know what it is with short form content. I always thought it was only TikTok as a platform that attracted bullshit commenters, but apparently it's a YouTube thing too, so it seems to be a short form content thing. So what was this comment? This comment said, and it makes me laugh every single time, this commenter said basically that my Thor's hammer isn't valid or something like that, because I didn't get it as a gift, and you have to get your Thor's hammer as a gift. Most witches watching right now will be reminded of a different kind of rule that was spread, and that is constantly being spread again and again. I kind of feel like it comes back, circles back every couple of years, and that is that you have to get your tarot deck as a gift or otherwise it won't work. And that's basically the same gist with the Thor's hammer in that comment. Let us look at the comment itself and then look at rules in general. So the comment itself, you have to get your Mjolnir as a gift. I asked them why they think that, and the commenter said that that's because Thor got his Mjolnir as a gift. Okay, weird. Even funnier was that the commenter said I should know my sources and then would get their own source wrong. But that doesn't have to do anything with the Mjolnir as a gift thing. So, did Thor get his Mjolnir as a gift? No, he did not. If you know the sources, then you know that Mjolnir basically was given to Thor as a prize because the dwarven smiths lost a smithing contest because Loki, of course it's Loki, cut off Sif's hair. Of course, Thor was very mad about it and requested from Loki that he would make up for it. So Loki got dwarven smiths to basically compete in a contest for the better smithing outcome. In the end, he managed to basically, as a fly, distract one of the dwarves, one of the smiths, and that's why Mjolnir ended up being too short, because he distracted one of the smiths. So the dwarven smiths basically fucked up Mjolnir, and that's why they lost. And then they had to give all of those things, for example, I think Draupnir, the Odin's ring that drops always 9 other rings, was also one of those gifts, and Mjolnir was one of those, and the golden hair for Sif was the prize. That's why Loki did the whole thing, so that he could give hair back to Sif, That's why Sif now has golden hair that grows from her scalp, but it's gold. That's how Thor got his Mjolnir. He didn't get it as a gift. He got it as a recompensation. You could name it that. You could also call it a prize, basically, because the smiths basically lost in a contest, and that's it. It was not like the dwarves were making stuff for the gods because they didn't make it for the gods because they just wanted to make a gift for them. They made it not to give it to them. They wanted to win a contest and they lost, and that's why they had to give that stuff to the gods. So the reasoning for that comment, not there, non-existent. That's about that. But now let's look at more broader making up rules. Are there any rules? Do we have rules in Norse paganism? I would argue that we don't, because there is no rule book. We do not have any sources from the Viking Age or prior to the Viking Age, like anything prior to the Christianization basically. We do not have any sources that basically make up a rule book for how to practice Norse paganism. And it also wouldn't make sense to find such a thing, because if we look at the area where Norse paganism, which of course it wasn't called back then, was practiced, it's huge. Scandinavia, Iceland, parts of Britain, that's such a huge area. In times where there was no internet, no phones, do you think people practiced the same everywhere? Do you think they had one rule book and they all just abided by this one rule book and everyone did the same things? No, of course they didn't. If someone lives in like far out on the countryside in Sweden and has like very little access to other people, of course they did. There was exchange always, but they didn't have like access to the internet. They weren't able to exchange information right and left all day. That's just not a thing. So of course different kinds of practices arose out of that. Of course, like one village would have practiced different things than another village, just like it's nowadays. That's just the thing that happens. That's a folk practice kind of thing. Different things emerge out of necessity, for example. So of course back then there was no rule book, and nowadays there is no rule book. You can like derive some like basic things about Norse paganism that you should probably do, but you could even argue that you do not even have to worship the gods to be a Norse pagan, because there are other kinds of beings and the gods weren't really even that important in the Viking Age and prior to that. For the people who were like, a lot of them were like farmers. They like had a lot of cattle, or they hoped to have a lot of cattle, or they actually didn't have a lot, only a little. Or they were like growing crops or something like that. For them, the land spirits were much more important. It was much more important to basically stay on the good side with the elves and to like protect themselves from trolls, for example. That was much more immediately important than giving an offering to a victory god. The gods, for example, Odin is like a god of the elites. With like Thor, for example, Freya, that's a little bit of a different story, but still, like the spirits in your immediate surroundings were probably much more important. So you could even argue that you don't necessarily even have to worship the gods. You could just venerate the land spirits or something. So it's very, very hard to find any like real rules for Norse paganism. And of course there are things out there like the 9 noble virtues, for example, which of course you can like look at the Havamal, for example, and extract some things from that, but it's more virtues. It's not really rules. It is more of a description of the person you should be and how you should like behave with other people, for example. It's more that than a rule on how to practice. The Havamal doesn't really say anything about how you should worship the gods, how you should give a sacrifice, or how you should get your Mjolnir. I mean, do you think back then people only got Mjolnirs as a gift? Of course they didn't. They bought it or made it themselves. So yeah, where I'm getting at basically is there are people out there, and there are quite a lot of people out there who make up rules. And I mean, for themselves, that's totally fine. If they want to make up rules for themselves and adhere to those rules and only practice that way, that is totally valid. Like, do what you want. It's also very, very okay to make up rules for maybe the group that you are in. Of course, if the group agrees to those rules and everyone wants to practice that way, totally fine to make up rules and like make up traditions and create like a basic framework for how offerings should be given, how bloats should be performed, things like that. Totally fine. The problem arises when you tell other people outside of your group that they have to also adhere to those rules, because that is not your place. It's not your place to tell other people how to practice if there is no rule book. It does not make sense. And for someone who's a little bit more experienced, like me, who like knows that that's bullshit, it doesn't really, like, it bothers me, but it doesn't impact me that much. It makes me laugh, maybe it makes me a little bit angry because I have to waste my energy to like click the block button or something, but it doesn't really impact my practice. But just imagine a beginner meeting a person like that and being indoctrinated basically with all of those rules and being told that you have to practice that way. This person will continue to think that because their elders or the other people in their group that they're practicing with, they told them that that's a steadfast rule that you have to abide by, which is not true. And I think that maybe that could actually be the reason why the commenter commented the comment because they told me that one of the biggest groups, which I do not remember the name, but one of the biggest groups apparently in the US practices that way and made up that rule, and they told them that. Apparently that person just never really thought about it deeper. They just accepted this information as a fact. And that's a problem with beginners. And it's not even their fault, you know, they're just like raised that way. Like they're told that that's the fact, and then they go about their Norse pagan journey and repeating that and repeating it, although it does not make zero sense. Again, make up rules for your group, totally fine. Make up rules and traditions and everything for your group, for yourself, totally fine. But don't think that other people have to adhere by that. It can impact someone's journey if you meet a beginner, you tell them they have to do it, and then they think they actually have to do it. And I hate that. Could we just stop telling other people how to practice or how to live their lives? Like, could we just stop thinking that the rules that we put on ourselves have to also be rules for other people? And that does not only apply to Norse paganism. In witchcraft, oh gods, how many rules have been made up already that were just one person's experience or opinions, and they just blasted it out there as a rule that everyone has to adhere to. For example, like, you have to get your tarot deck as a gift, or you cannot show your altar on the internet because then it will lose the power, or you cannot show spell work online because it will lose its power. That's all just personal opinions and maybe personal experience, but it's definitely not a rule, a fact. I guess that's everything that I wanted to rant about, and I hope that by doing that, I will save some beginners from just taking information like that and taking it as a fact. I hope it wasn't too annoying to hear me rant. I like making these kind of commentary videos, they're kind of fun. So yeah, with that being said, I hope it was at least entertaining to hear me rant a little bit, and I hope you took something from the video. As always, Patreon and YouTube member shout out. Thank you so much to Naomi, Shaw, Christiana, T. Demon, Elizabeth, Sylvia, Penny, Weirfest Hira, Katrina, V, Bella, Derek, Smiley, Robin, Kirsten, Shannon, Andrew, Tisha, Sarah, Stanny, Rowan, Asisa, Carrie, August, Hannah, Shelby, Helena, SJ, Merle, N, Kate, Cade, Z, Kent, Brittany's, Emery, Celine, Small Kata, Josh, Elinora, Knarr, Christine, Rixie Business, Annalena, Svenna, Ashley, Tim, John, Phoenix, Jenny, Maggie, Misty, Amy, Bethany, Timothy, Coffee, the honorary gossip squirrel, and Bjorn. And now let's look at the YouTube members. Thank you so much to Betsy, Peony Rain, Milla, Katie, and Crystal. Thank you so much, everyone. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe and give a thumbs up and ring the bell down below so you're notified whenever I upload something new. Of course, you can check out my other socials or my shop that is now reopened. Yay! And I have a big crystal clearance sale. So If you want to look at that, do it. And if you want to support me in another way, then check out my Patreon and my YouTube membership. It doesn't matter where you subscribe, you get the same stuff no matter which platform you subscribe to. And that being said, I will see you in the next video. Bye!